I'm sitting in the cockpit. Yeah. So, look, I'll just go back to the beginning of this conversation. This is I got the impression that most of our friends in England are begrudgingly okay with the NFL coming to town. Simon pointed out, having the retractable pitch and not tearing up, our hallowed surface was the biggest gripe, and that was sort of taken away. But this is a gigantic thing, and I think the one thing I would encourage people to do, and I'm not being an Enoch apologist here, but I've thought deeply, especially when we thought so much about Chelsea and the fact that their history has really been the 15 or 16 trophies that they've won since Abramowitz bought them for them, because they have. And I've always thought to myself, well, what if we would have had Abramowitz? Would I feel the same? And I'm sure I'd be feeling good about the fact that we'd be winning shit. But I don't know. This is our one opportunity. It's the only way that we as a club can move forward, become a true powerhouse, set a new, create new history for ourselves without being owned by an oligarch. It's the only way.
Well, let me ask this then: is this a prep for that sale?
Well, there were some people that were chiming in and that were very cynical about that. I don't really believe that. I'm of the mindset that Daniel Levy, look, Joe owns this club. Joe bought the club essentially for Daniel. And at some point in time, Daniel will find a way to buy Joe out. I really honestly believe that Daniel wants to leave this club. His legacy in life is to run this club. I just think it's one of those things that money just, like, he's already a wealthy guy. What's he going to go do? It's like Jerry Jones.
Right.
What's Jerry Jones and his family going to go do? They're not going to do anything. They are the Dallas Cowboys. And I really believe that Daniel's that way. So when I don't know, and there's plenty of people that are money grubbing this, that, and the other, that this is just a preparation for us to be. No, it's not. It's a preparation for us to become something great. Do you really think that Daniel Levy is more concerned with making money and going and doing? What's he going to go do? He wants this club to win. I really believe that. And I think this NFL deal, I really wish that we didn't have to do it. I think that it'd be great. Well, I don't know. I mean, think about that. There's something. The purists say, well, it's not football. It is football now. To do something dynamic and different and transformational, that's really the name of the game. And by God, we're doing it again.
Yeah.
And Simon, you know so much about our history. We always had things that we were the first to do stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is arguably one of the greatest firsts we're going to get a chance to do. We're not going to be the only stadium that's going to have the NFL. But think about what this does for our area. Our area is a tourist destination now.
Mm-hmm.
It's remarkable for that area. So anyway, sorry, my rant is over.
Well,
I'm really happy about this.
I think I can't think of any negatives for this other than the purists and those against modern football. That this is another business move that detaches Tottenham away from the true fan and the whole working class aura that the game was founded on. And unfortunately, we're beyond that now, and this is
in every sport, Simon.
If you don't want to be left behind, you've got to move with the times, and we know we've been seriously lacking the facilities to be able to keep up with the big boys, and I think we've got to put that into perspective and look at our achievements, particularly in the last 10 years since Martin Jol really elevated this club, and before that, I think you have to say it was Daniel Levy, and all these are going about Daniel Levy out, but he has given us the stability that the 90s and the early noughties were just a horrendous time to be a Spurs fan, and let's not forget that. And here we are about to embark on building a state-of-the-art stadium with an agreement with the National Football League, and the branding and the global recognition that is going to give Tottenham Hotspur. We're going to be up there with the big boys again.
Absolutely.
And it's going to enable us to compete on the field, and we should be qualifying for Champions League every year. So when that day arrives and it's not happening, then we can all be referring back to this conversation, bitching and moaning and saying Levy out.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's interesting too to see the growth of the NFL in the United Kingdom. It started off as exhibition games, preseason games. They play 4 of them every year, and no one of any name plays until about the last one, as they're getting ready to, or the third one actually. They'll play about a half starters. Other than that, it's college kids trying to make a team or free agents or whatnot. So the games are very uninteresting, and that's how it kind of started out. Then they played a legitimate NFL regular season game over there. Then it became 2, then it became 3, and I think last year it was 4.
Yeah, that's right.
So you've played 4. That's half of what would be a home team's home allocation of games. It's a 16-game schedule. 8 games are at home. I really don't think that it's a good idea to actually place an NFL franchise in London.
I agree.
Even if you play that many games, if you end up playing 8 games over there, I think that anybody in the UK that is a National Football League fan now already has a team that they pull for. We know Katrina Law is a massive Seattle Seahawks fan. She is not going to root for the London Monarchs or whatever the hell they're going to be called because she's a Seattle Seahawks fan. The only time that
with Clive Allen as their kicker.
And I think that if Seattle ever got the opportunity to go over there and play, she would be the first one in line to get tickets. And I think people would rather watch them or the 49ers or the New York Giants or the Cowboys or the Falcons or whoever their team is when they get the opportunity to come over there, rather than London settling in on a team and hoping that over the 5, 6, or 10 years it may take for the city to gravitate towards a team and fill a 60,000 seat stadium to root for London's NFL franchise. I just think that the logistics are too much. It really, especially from a foreign country standpoint, it's a lot to ask. And I think that the NFL and whoever else is doing the groundwork for this on the United Kingdom side would do well to just leave Jacksonville or Minnesota or whoever the hell the team is going to be that ends up wanting to go over there alone. Keep them in America and let the games be played over there, but don't put a franchise over there. I think that would be a massive mistake.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I think the draw of these great and not so great teams from over here come into play will be more than enough to prick the interest of the common punter. And again, if you got a lot of Americans, like a lot of us Brits who live over here, you're going to have a lot of Americans that live in the UK, and they're going to want to go to these games as well. And you know what? They're going to say, "Hey, this is where Tottenham play."
Yeah.
And that cross branding, that cross recognition is obviously good for our club and our image, and people are going to know more about Spurs, and that's great. Particularly, can you imagine when it's broadcast over here, and here we are live from whatever the name of the stadium is, home of Tottenham Hotspur. People can go, who? And the NFL
those days are
audience,
gone.
The NFL audience in this country is massive, and Levy he has to be given a lot of credit for this. This is huge for the global exposure of this club.
Yeah, I agree.
And
all right.
And to argue my point in one different way, because I know some people are going to disagree with me on that. Look at it this way. If the English Premier League decided to put a franchise, or they don't do that because they have the relegation system and it's all townships and cities and whatnot. But if they decided to include the United States in this with one team, and they would always be guaranteed to stay in the Premier League, or something along that line, and it would be the Philadelphia Americans, or call it whatever you want. No one over here that already is a Premier League team is going to go root for that team. Because you just don't. You don't switch your loyalties. I would, if Tottenham flew over here to play a match against the United States English Premier League team, I would be hoping Spurs would kick the living crap out of them. And everybody else that is already an English Premier League team is not going to root for that team. So why would you do the same thing in reverse and put an NFL team over there and expect the same result? If you understand what I'm trying to say here.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons why. I think that I don't really think that the NFL makes money off of home games itself. I mean, how does a league really make money? League makes money off TV deals, right? Yeah. TV deals, and then the club's selling shit, selling merchandise. And the one thing that these 4 games a year do for the NFL, it gets gigantic global brand awareness. But as you start either sending more teams over there, or you set up a new franchise over there, it's a whole new set of costs, right? And so the allure of just coming over there 4 times a year is great for the NFL. It creates this gigantic global brand awareness, and as Simon was talking about, and Ken, you've mentioned it, it creates gigantic awareness for us. It creates an NFL guy And we're starting to see this rapid growth of the everyday American who's never really followed soccer, now becoming big soccer fans. You see that in our U.S. men's national team and women's national teams crowds.
Yeah.
It's everyday people. And now they're going to learn about Spurs because the NFL is the biggest game in town here in the States. It's just so few negatives to this deal. And gives us a long-term financial footing. And to your point, Ken, I mean, look, if we're still stinking it up and not winning stuff after the stadium's done, then I think in my mind you can scream and yell Enoch out.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Let's talk about the All-Star game. It's coming up next week. Is it next week already?
It's a week on Wednesday. I think the team flies into Denver a week tomorrow, so next Monday.
Okay, so we got the All-Star game here in Denver. They've announced the roster. They actually put Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard, because they got voted in, on the All-Star roster, and they've barely touched a pitch.
I heard that Pelé, once he gets over his back surgery,
to the MLS's credit and the Players Union and the owners, they did add 2 more spots for players who were deserving. But you know what? Just on a hometown standpoint, I think FC Dallas, only Fabian Castillo got in, and they're like tops in their division right now. It's kind of one of those weird things.
Panamanian, the big lanky forward.
Perez? No,
yeah.
He didn't get in.
No, he didn't. Huh.
Well, it's funny, when I bumped into DeAndre Yedlin, did I mention that to you guys? Oh, yeah.
Shut up.
So,
and Clint.
Did you go?
I think.
Hi, DeAndre. Chairman Dodsworth here.
Yeah, I asked him a really stupid question that I could have answered myself, but I said, so when you're back to training in London, and knowing full well he's just embarking on this Gold Cup journey, which inevitably the US will reach the final, and I think the final is Saturday? It's probably Sunday. Well, he's just going to get on a plane and go to Denver 2 days later and join up with the team. He'll be match fit, although he has spent a lot of time riding the pine, as they like to say over here.
Yeah.
But he's made an impact whenever he's come on. But yes, I did bump into DeAndre and Dempsey and a certain Jurgen Klinsmann, which tickled me pink. The backstory was, I'm at work. We're having our annual conference at this nice Western hotel here in Frisco. And everyone that I work with said, hey, do you know there's a bunch of soccer players here? And they had no clue who they were.
Soccer.
And then it dawned on me, of course, they're playing the next night. Of course, this conference prevented me from going. I had tickets, I had to give them away. But boom, they're all the players. And as soon as Klinsmann walked by, I stopped my lunch. I ran after him and someone took a picture. And I was proper made up after that, because I only ever saw him play for the German national team during the World Cup. Never saw him play for Spurs in his 2 short stints with us, and what a top fella. I got a lot of time for him, and Dempsey was there. All the players were there, and they were just hanging around and oblivious to what was going on. The hotel was not very busy. I think at one point they told us to stop annoying them because all the women were getting a little dippy after these fit athletes. Who it is interesting because we're in these conference rooms that are all broken down, and they occupy quite a few for their equipment, for their pre-match analysis. So they had all their laptops running statistics, tactics, all that good stuff. And they also used the rooms for massages. And they left the doors open, so the girls they were quite giddy about seeing guys getting a rub down in the middle of the afternoon when we're on our breaks. So it was kind of surreal. But to actually be there for 2 days with the U.S. men's national team was pretty interesting. So, and of course, our good friend Mr. Friedel was there. He was the first one I bumped into, and he came back that evening. Yeah, it felt like that because I was having a chat with him again in the evening, and he has graciously agreed to come back onto the podcast as long as we record it. But now he's no longer the property of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. He is the property of Fox and has to get permission from them. But he will come on, and
nice.
I should see him again in Denver. I have my friend Trevor, who took great care of us when we were in London. He sent me over a Friedel shirt. It's a rather unique shirt. It's an outfield shirt with Friedel's name and number on the back.
Nice.
Brad tried to tell me why he had this shirt. I said, look, I'll bring it to Denver. I'll show it to you. Hopefully you can sign it. So hopefully I'll meet him there.
Oh, nice.
He's gonna be doing the meet and greet with Ledley, which is